Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. Just before I start anything, I want to let you know that I did a Q&A with Philip at FitLIFE on his YouTube channel. So I'm going to put the link down below, so make sure you guys check that out. And yeah, it was a good time talking to Philip. So thanks a lot, Philip, for having me on your show there. And yeah, I'm glad that I could talk your ear off for a while. I'm sure you're not so glad about it, but I was happy to do it. So thanks for that. Thanks, Philip. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about training when you're fatigued or training when you're exhausted. Now, a big mistake a lot of people make is that they have this program in their head, or they have PRs in mind, or they have this obsession about meeting the expectations of their program, and they go in the gym with like 3 hours sleep and then try to do maximum lifts with squats and deadlifts and all these big nervous system type dominant exercises. I gotta let my cat out. Cece, come on. Just done training for the night. Okay, he's done working out. And in some cases, they get injured because of it. Now, some of the reasons for this is because when your body's partly asleep, perhaps it's not recovered from the last time you worked out. But another thing to consider is that when your mind is exhausted, you're not going to be firing the muscles properly. There's a strong possibility that your coordination will be off. And at the same time, when you're exhausted, you do have a tendency to be dehydrated and so forth. So one way to stick to your training program when you're exhausted is to bear in mind that you don't have to be doing the big compound lifts on those days. So when you haven't got enough sleep, or say you're having trouble sleeping or whatever, or you've been doing shift work or whatever it is, and you're not quite in your groove yet, a good strategy is just to go in the gym and do machines or movements that aren't requiring a lot of stabilization, especially through the lower back and hip area. I find that if you do a lot of dominant heavy lifts like deadlifts and squats at that time when you're exhausted, that's when your tendency to get injured is much greater. So on those days, I'd recommend doing something like leg presses, or even if you are doing lunges, do high rep lunges. Or if you're gonna do squats, do high rep squats. Don't be doing the 5 reps or the maximum lifts where you have to be totally impeccable to having the perfect form, because when you're tired, it's a lot harder for you to stabilize properly to make sure that groove is perfect at all times. Now, the other thing is that it's good to train, but if you're training exhausted all the time, you're definitely not going to get the same results, right? Most top level competitive athletes take naps during the day and they get their 8 or 9 hours sleep every night. You cannot perform at the highest level with 4 or 5 hours sleep. Not most people anyway. Some people can do it, but most people can't do it. And I know I'm not designed that way, that's for sure. Like I need my 8 or 9 hours a night, and then I still need a nap during the day. I'm kind of like a baby. I'm a big baby pretty much. The thing is that if you're going to train, it's okay to do higher reps on those days where you're exhausted. If you're tired and you haven't got enough sleep, just do higher reps. Work on isolation exercises, work on machines, exercises that are already stabilized for you. And that's a pretty good strategy to still get the blood flow, still keep your gains, keep your pump, but at the same time not risk injury. So yeah, when you're exhausted, definitely do not risk doing super heavy weights or 1 rep maxes or PRs of any kind when it comes down to the low rep range, because that's when you usually get injured. And that's one of the reasons why I find it's good to also train the same time of day every day or similar, because your body gets used to it. It's almost like it's a warm-up. When your body's used to firing the nervous system every day at the same time, what happens, it's almost like your body gets a pre-warm-up before the warm-up, right? Because it's already revved up. It knows 3 o'clock every day, that's when I gotta lift, or 5 o'clock every day, that's when I gotta lift. So if you change your schedule up all over the place, if you have to do this because you're working shifts or whatever's happening in your schedule, then make sure you warm up extra. If you're training at a different time of day, make sure you do a few extra sets to make sure that you got that area warm and ready to train as well. So that's why if I train early in the morning, which is usually not when I train, but if I do train early in the morning, I make sure I do 2 or 3 extra sets, warming up, some stretching, and I give my body time to get ready in order to lift weights. That's my take on it. I hope this helps you out with your training. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to the Patreon supporters. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and there you can get workout programs and shirts. You get shirts there. Yeah. So take care for now and share my stuff. You could share it. You're allowed. I won't get mad, I swear.